Hi, I'm Ernesto Cervini. I'm a Canadian drummer-composer from Toronto, Ontario. Growing up, I was exposed to all kinds of music, from jazz to pop, classical to music theater. My influences were super varied. My siblings and I made music together all the time, and we were part of a band known as the Toronto All-Star Big Band. I met our next guest while playing in that band. We've been making music together since I was 12, and she was about 15. And we're not going to talk about how long ago that was. And she remains one of my closest friends and dearest colleagues. Please welcome Tara Davidson. Hi, Tara.
Hello.
Thank you so much for doing this and for chatting with me today.
Thanks for the invitation.
We've known each other forever, for a very long time. Starting in the Toronto All-Star Big Band, or the Etobicoke Jazz Band, I think it was called back then, or Etobicoke Jazz Youth Orchestra.
Exactly, yeah.
Then, continuing when we went to school at the University of Toronto, and then I was in your quartet for a while, and then now you're in my sextet, and then now I'm in your nonet. But what I wanted to talk to you about today was when you kind of arrived on the scene. So why don't we start with just your kind of a little bit of bio, where you were born and where you grew up and all that good stuff.
I was born in Brampton, Ontario, suburb of Toronto. Born and raised, stayed put. Was lucky to have exposure to music when I was very young, because my dad loved music. My dad played trumpet. It became a hobby because he pursued music education instead. He ended up teaching music. But he loved jazz and played it in the house. And also we got to tag along basically for, concerts. He would take us to New York to take in shows, like musicals and jazz shows, and just expose us to arts in general. I have one brother. Got great schools with nice music programs. So I started saxophone in grade 7 and got to play in a big band in grade 8. Wasn't improvising at all yet, not at all. But I really liked the saxophone. I wanted to play tenor, but because I had to walk to my junior high school, my dad said, no, it's too large for you right now. So it started with alto. I was a very, very, very shy kid. So, I mean, when we met, I was still a very, very shy person, just slightly older, but music was a great outlet for me, outlet for expression. And I also got, some self-confidence because it was going kind of well. I worked at it and it was going fine. So that made me want to keep playing the saxophone. And in Brampton, I could have gone to my very close by high school, or got a bus half hour north of the city to the arts high school. And so you and I met very early on in my high school experience. You were 12, I was 14 when we met, and then that summer when we met, I turned 15. Okay. Summer between grade 9 and 10 is when I met you.
You're such babies. Oh my gosh.
That big band was really an important milestone in my development because, I met you, for example, and we've made music to get with, as you said, some breaks here and there, but we've made music together ever since. But it's also where I started improvising for the first time. It was with the big band, and then met your sister, Amy, who was playing in the senior band version of the ensemble, and she was improvising, playing saxophone, sounding amazing. And I asked her for advice, about how I could improve, and she suggested lessons, and she said, "Why not Mike Murley?"
Yeah.
So when I got back to school in September in grade 10, I called Mike Murley and asked to take lessons. And from there, I'd say that is when things really took off for me. My trajectory of, the choices I would make for my journey in my life really, there's a huge ripple that started right there.
It's funny how these decisions that you make, these little decisions you make when you're younger, or honestly, these decisions our parents make for us. You know, that, I mean, it was probably your dad who found the band and said, "Hey, Tara, you should try." I mean, maybe not.
No,
Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong.
100%.
Even the fact that your dad said, "I think the tenor's too big for you. You should stick with alto for now," you know? And like, it's amazing how these, you say ripple effects, and it's so true.
We're having our 30-year anniversary of meeting one another this year.
Yeah.
I hope you don't mind sharing that. But
No, I don't mind.
I feel very lucky to, be 44, almost 45. So the ripples have extended so far at this point, 30 years later.
Yeah.
But yeah, to look back at some of those
Yeah.
source moments, that was huge. That was huge. And you're totally right. My dad, sorry about my cat, by the way. I don't know.
She just wants to hang out with us.
She really does, but she would be so disruptive. So I can't let her in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, my dad was 150% supportive, because he loved jazz, he loved music.
Yeah.
He saw how for me, I think he recognized it was a great outlet for me of expression, and as I said, getting self-confidence. Like, he saw all that, and in a way, I think he probably lived vicariously through me also, because
As parents do.
as parents
I can tell you
do.
that. For sure.
He encouraged me to audition for the Arts High School, and he found out about the Etobicoke Jazz Youth Orchestra auditions, and helped me make my audition. Like, he helped me plan my audition. I remember like getting a whole play along track and everything prepared for my piece, and that summer, and for the subsequent summers that I was a part of it, I think 3 more years. He drove me from Brampton to Etobicoke for every rehearsal and performance, not just in Toronto, but all over the place. He drove me. So,
Right.
yeah, Dad was a huge part of my, the whole journey. Certainly. He really gave me the push at the front.
Yeah.
Because I was, as I said, so shy. So even, like, I knew I liked saxophone, but he he kept encouraging me and nudging me along, because my natural tendency would have been to sort of recede into the shadows. The spotlight was, as I said, something I got, when we get praise for something, it feels nice. But I was naturally uncomfortable in the spotlight. So
Right.
still kind of am.
Yeah. So did you, and again, knowing you as well as I do, I don't know the answer to this. Did you study any other instruments? Did you start on piano, or did you start on saxophone?
I started on piano and voice. Yes. When I was 3, I have flashes of memories of a few of those lessons. One of them being tears.
Oh no.
Yeah. My parents, because when I was 3, it was my mom and my dad. They wanted me to have some music in my life. And when you're 3, piano's a good option, and voice. But I was this shy kid already. And then I had kind of a strict piano teacher.
Oh, yeah.
And I came into the lesson, I think, with gum. And she got really mad, and she made me spit it out, and there were tears. So, and then I did stop music altogether. Just life with our family got challenging around that time. And not until I was, I think, maybe I was about 7, came back to the piano. I never loved piano. I wish now, of course, in hindsight, that I had pursued it more seriously, because it's so helpful, no matter what other instrument you may play, like to have piano there for, composition, other reasons. But that was it. That was it. And I did a few more years of that, but I didn't practice very much, I'll be honest. I didn't. Love it.
Yeah. So okay. So when you were playing that, was your dad, because he was the like driving force, behind the music stuff? Was he on you guys to practice, or did he kind of leave you to your own devices?
Yeah, he took that a bit seriously. And I mean, it wasn't, I don't, from what I understand about your own upbringing with music and developing a practice routine and ethic, I don't think it was as strict or enforced, I should say, but definitely encouraged and reminded of the importance, because, well, you're lucky enough to get lessons. Like, please, make it worth it. To be honest, I don't remember being forced
Yeah.
or, into the practice room so much. I remember practicing because I liked it. And my dad, yeah, we had to sit down, and he was talking about, well, you got to pursue it wholeheartedly if you're going to keep going down this road.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think he just wanted me to seriously reflect on my, on my hopes, what seemed to be my dreams, and like just make sure that I was going to really commit to it, because I really had to at that point if I wanted to go further. So,
Your dad kind of knowing what music as a career kind of looked like, or having a very good idea of what that means. It's such an important conversation to have.
yeah.
Okay, so then you start studying with Mike Murley in grade 10.
Yes.
It's so crazy. So, and he was like, our age, maybe younger. He's younger, right?
He was younger. He was, yeah, I think he was early 30s. Yeah.
Early 30s, was he? Oh, he was a baby too.
And 1994, he was born in 61, December. So he was 32 going on 33 when I met him.
Wow. Yeah, so he wasn't our age at all.
He was not our age.
All right, I was just trying to make myself feel better, but nope, no, he was quite young. Cool. And then, so you would drive into Toronto to go study with him?
Yeah, my dad and my stepmom, we'd go into the city together. They'd drop me off, and at his, he had a townhouse apartment, like Riverdale area, and so they dropped me off and go get some donuts or something. It was usually like Saturday morning or Sunday morning.
It's funny because I think about those early morning. I used to go take lessons with Mark Eisenman it was Sunday mornings, and I'd knock on the door, and there'd be no answer, and I'd knock again, and then he'd come down in his bathrobe and be like, hey, yeah, just go get warmed up. I just gonna go put some clothes on.
Oh, God.
And then, like, his wife would come down and she'd make him a coffee, and then she'd make me some cookies. It was like I was just this Sunday morning fixture in their home for whatever, a couple of years. So it's funny. I think about those experiences now that I'm an adult, and then how when I was like, just the way you frame these things in your head are so different when you're a kid. You see everything so differently. When you see some of the kids that you taught when they were really young, and now they're just musicians in the scene, it's like, oh yeah, wow, they were like little babies, and now they're doing great things and making great music. And yeah, it's time is a funny thing.
It's bonkers. Yeah, I started teaching while I was still in university, and at a little music school in North Toronto, and I met at the time a little boy named Michael. I think maybe a couple years after I graduated was when I first started teaching him saxophone, and he was 10. But I had remembered I saw him at the school while he was just taking piano lessons. He was only 5, sitting at the piano bench waiting for his teacher, his little feet swinging, on the piano stool. And so I taught him started teaching when he was 10, and then I taught him saxophone for a number of years, and then I taught him composition a little bit. And then towards the end of his time of high school, then I sent him off to a couple different teachers for like more serious composition lessons. And then he got his master's in composition at McGill after that. And now he's out and about and he's playing, and we meet up for coffee or whatever, and he's full-blown adult with his life and his career. And
Exactly. And also you taught David, is it David Haskett?
Yeah.
Because you sent him to me for theory lessons, and now he plays bass with Shawn Mendes and is like touring the world as a big, as a pop musician.
Yes.
Okay, so you're studying with Murley and you're at high school. So how did you make the decision to stay in Toronto and go to U of T? Was it did you audition for a bunch of different schools, or?
U of T was the golden ticket, I guess.
Yeah.
It was where I hoped to go.
Mm-hmm.
But I did audition for all the schools. McGill and Humber and York. But I hoped to go to U of T. Number one, because Mike taught there. and number two, because I didn't love the idea of moving away from home. I knew I would get to live in the city if talking to my dad and stepmom about that they'd support me moving into the city to study, but then home is close by, so I liked that also.
Very cool. Okay, I have a completely different track now. What were some of your favorite bands growing up?
I appreciated the music my dad was playing in the house, and that he took us to live music. But what I was putting on my Walkman cassette tape was Whitney Houston and Huey Lewis and the News and Michael Jackson and Wilson Phillips and Madonna. So a lot of pop I like.
Mm-hmm.
So another one of the trips that we would regularly go on as a family, because we did New York and hear jazz, but we also went to Florida, but we would drive down because my dad was a teacher. So when it was Christmas break, it's like, I'm out of here. And when it was March break, I'm out of here. And then in the summers, we just stayed at home. So those long car rides, I would listen to a lot of pop music. Yeah.
When did you start, well, even just cursory, like when did you start listening to jazz, even just a little bit?
My dad would finish his work day, and when we would go to bed, he hung out in the den downstairs and with the record players and the sound system, and would listen to jazz or jazz radio. So I'd hear Miles Davis and Oscar Peterson and Ella. I mean, he would just he liked having music around the house. So like there were like speakers upstairs connected to the system downstairs, so that it would be ambient music in the house. So I do think about that. Like if I think about being in my living room as a young person and later visiting the house, there was always music. And then, I mean, it started, I think, grade 9, it must have started. The first jazz CD I had was actually a Jobim Bossa Nova collection CD, which had, Stan Getz on it, and Ella Fitzgerald, and Dizzy Gillespie, Oscar Peterson. Did I say that already? But like it was all these various artists playing Jobim, and then also Jobim was on it. That was my first jazz CD, and then maybe the Diana Krall record, her Nat King Cole tribute record. I had that. And then it was Mike Murley, and then it was Joshua Redman very shortly after that.
So by the time you were like later in high school, you were checking stuff out, and you were.
Yeah, certainly grade 10 onwards. I want to say, like, I still had some pop, like Stevie Wonder and Michael Jackson and Brian McKnight, like 90s stuff, Soundgarden.
Yeah.
But then it
Yeah.
was listening to Murley and a lot of Murley and Metalwood.
Yeah.
And then it was pretty focused, except for maybe like Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
jazz.
Yeah.
And then I became, very streamlined in my listening tastes, preferences.
Now we'll skip ahead. Now we'll skip a couple of years to current collaborations. When did you guys dream up the idea of Tara Davidson 9? How did that come about? And, and why?
William and I first met thanks to Lila Bialy. We met as people, but also musically, because Lila, in about 2002-3, started an octet with mostly ringers. She and I were friends already through the Sisters in Jazz program. So she started this octet, and I got to be in it, and the rest of the band, so she and I are about the same age. The remaining 6 people were older people in the established musicians in the community. And that's where I met William. And then from there, I then hired William. He's such a beautiful trombonist. We got along personally. We were friends for a few years before we started dating. But so I asked him to play on my first gig as a solo band leader at the Rex.
Oh, really?
It was my first public gig. Knew him through the octet already. I invited him to play with me at the very first gig at the Rex as a band leader. And from there, we got to play on through other people's projects. And we were both doing the, as I said, quartet, quintet thing. Fast forward like 8 years, 7, 8 years, and we wanted to do something together. We did not want to do a full big band because that's too many people to organize.
So much.
Too many people. It's too many people, but we also thought, let's do something that's slightly different. What would that be that's going to be slightly different? And William had been listening to John Scofield's recording Quiet, and there was a lot of chamber writing or aesthetic to that recording. I can't remember all the like woodwinds and instrumentation, but for him, that was part of the inspiration of going more chamber. But actually, like, sorry, John Scofield / any chordal player, we don't want you, but we
don't want you.
The aesthetic. So great. Okay. Yeah. Like I wanted to work on my doubles. So let's get people who could play doubles a little bit in the woodwinds. And then like, let's hire our friends and great people, bass, drums, horns. It's going to be an interesting challenge as an arranger because we both had a respective body of work of compositions, original compositions, because of our work as quartet and quintet leaders. So we thought from that we can arrange. We kept saying reimagine in our bio, reimagine this repertoire for this new instrumentation. But we also outsourced. We commissioned works by more experienced arrangers by giving them our compositions and, hey, let's arrange this for our band. 13 years later, here we are. You were involved, so you remember. We just recorded our 4th album out in the fall. So it's really worked out. And now with our own arranging starting to come together more, we just provide all the arrangements now. We take our own compositions and arrange.
That's a cool way to do it too. I think it's a really neat way to collaborate too, because it means the band is going to have all these different sounds, but then now it sounds so much more cohesive because it's your voices coming out. I mean, I love the idea of both, right? It's like that eclectic, like, well, this is a gathering place and this is like our songs, but being arranged by all these great musicians and great friends. And then, but then now you're right, as you are arranging, voice grows and you know, you get more comfortable, but not really more comfortable, but more interested in, you know, doing that part of it.
Yeah, we loved the mixture of arranging voices. It was our compositions, but some refreshing spins on our compositions presented through these different arrangers.
You seem to be in a lot of these long-standing collaborations, right? Like you seem to be a member of a lot of pretty long-standing groups at this point. I'm wondering if you have any idea why that is. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. What is it that draws you to being a member of a group that stays together for a long time and you know, grows and evolves?
Yeah, I think I feel very fortunate. I feel very fortunate anytime I get an invitation to work on another person's project, because there are so many fantastic musicians in the city. So to be asked is, yeah, I don't take that for granted. And then for some of those ensembles to just keep going and going, like what a treat. Because as you say, like with all that time and more albums, more history together, the music evolves too and gets deeper and deeper. Like Turboprop has been, is it a decade? Like now, is it a decade?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
it's whizzed by. It's like a family gathering now when we get to be together. The American version or the Canadian version, it's, you know, such a comfortable place personally, and musically I feel like we know each other so well, so the music has also gotten deeper and deeper, and it's like an instant connection when we get back on the bandstand together and start playing, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
it's really great.
Yeah,
and that's, yeah, I think most remarkably, certainly for our own thing, CD9, and as a side person, I think Turboprop is the other one that's really remarkable, and how that connection has really deepened with that time and all the playing together. It's really special.
Yeah. Okay. So the last thing I wanted to talk to you about is just a little bit about Turboprop, the band that we play in together, my baby. What kind of challenges did it present you when you joined the band, and what has it brought out in your playing, or how has it changed the way you perform, you know, either with the band or even just in general?
It forced me to up my game, I'd say, in a lot of ways, actually. I mean, because I think my natural inclination, like vibe or style wise, is like more in the Otterville lane, which is possibly the quietest band in Canada.
The quietest band in Toronto, and Turboprop is the loudest band in Canada.
So, and I couldn't really shake for a lot of years in my earlier years as a alto player, like the comparison to Paul Desmond, actually, sound wise. So I come to like a darker sound, I guess, timbre on the alto a little, and playing in Turboprop with your horn section with the alto most commonly as the lead voice, with the tenor and big sound tenor people, Joel Fromm and Kelly, big sound tenor, and then William on trombone. It has that lead alto quality, sound quality that's kind of necessary, I think, to sit on top of the 3-person pyramid. balance wise. And then just, yeah, I mean, the style of I think with your aesthetic, natural approach, like, of course you play, you're very, very dynamic. So you can play whisper soft and you play, beautiful, sensitive ballads, right? Beautiful ballads. But you also love swinging hard and big.
Yeah.
And that is more of an athletic approach to playing that I wasn't accustomed to, very comfortable doing. So, so it made me realize, okay, I feel like I need to do some weightlifting here, some weight training, get in the boxing ring and get back like into stronger shape. So I did change my gear a little bit, actually. Like around the time I joined Turboprop, I changed my saxophone, I changed my mouthpiece setup, and I had to up my game. Mm-hmm. And then as an improviser, I mean, everybody's outstanding, but of course with Joel Fromm, William and I called him, referred to him lovingly as Yoda. For a while, we told him this, because he's a Jedi master, jazz-wise, and he can say anything he wants on the saxophone in any moment, instantaneously, at any volume. Yeah. So very inspiring. So yeah, so there. I hope I covered all the that checklist, but there was a checklist of like I need to get better so that I feel like I can really do a good job at this in a lot of different ways. So it's pushed me musically and honestly slightly physically, but it's fantastic. I feel stronger as a player thanks to Turboprop.
I remember as soon as we played together as the six of us, I was like, oh, yeah, that's what I wanted. There it is. Yeah, it really was like, I was thrilled. Every time we get together, it's like, it's like nectar for my soul. It just makes me, it really does. It makes me so happy. And just seeing the three of you, like making music together in the front row and just we are definitely a family, like 100%. How do you think about improvising on some of the more, simple like cover tunes because we in Turboprop we play a pretty wide range of music, but then I love doing covers. When you solo on No Rain, for example, or when you solo on Clumsy, like those are pretty simple chord changes. It's Clumsy is like a 90s rock tune. It's like 3 chords or something going back and forth, and then it goes to something. It's pretty simple. So I don't know. Is there a different approach you have to take to playing on something that's so harmonically simple compared to a jazz tune where there's a bunch of 2/5s and
yes and no. I think, I mean, earlier on in my development, and even in like midway, like later in my development, there's been this sense of urgency whenever I'm improvising to do a good job, and sometimes it's like survival, depending on what the context is. Like if it's, as I described, like the physicality, like volume or speed. And then as that's become less of a concern, it's regardless of what the repertoire and harmony may be, I'm focusing, trying to be a little more present and just making music together, but to a more specific point, I'm trying to make sure I do something a little different every time. So that challenge is always there, regardless of what the repertoire is demanding, whether it's lots of 2/5s and swing in and a more comfortable, typical context versus, this was a rock song and the harmony is very simple. It is still about like, let's try to be present, and it's about the collective and making like where is this going to go together? I don't hopefully know. Hopefully it's not going to go in a habitual direction with what we're saying or how we're saying it. So so that's always there. But it's true, like when there is less harmony, that like, how am I going to do something different? So I think it's actually in the space, and when there isn't a lot of harmonic movement,
Right.
yeah, what you're saying, there's just a lot more room. But it's always still about like how can I approach this differently again, so that I am trying, being spontaneous and as creative as I hopefully can be.
And you're such a melodic improviser and player. So I feel like you're always creating. I mean, I can always hear the melody and when you're performing. I can always hear, you're always, if you're not referencing it directly, but it's always there, you know? But then your melodies are always so clear and strong. But you always find a way to make these beautiful melodies and build this solo and like, and build a story and create kind of a moment.
That's nice.
You know, some of my most exciting moments playing in turboprop is when you take that one extra chorus. I love it when you take the extra chorus. I do. It's all because there'll just be every once in a while where you're like you're really on fire and you're really going for it, and then we'll get 3/4 of the way, and I'm like, oh, I hope she doesn't stop, and then you keep going, and I'm like, yes, we're going for it. Those are my honestly, those are the moments. If you could just stop and look at me, and I'd be like, yeah.
Well, hopefully I have enough gas in the tank at that point. If I've made that choice, like, let's keep going. I think I can do it.
You always do. You always do. Well, thank you so much for doing this and for coming on and chatting with me. Obviously,
my pleasure. I forgot that it's an interview. Really, it's just nice to spend time with you.
I know we could have just been driving from Saskatchewan to Alberta and having the same conversation. And in fact, I'm sure we have.
Probably.
I'm sure we have many times. But it is, of all the people in the music scene, I mean, you are everyone. I do consider a lot of my friends part of my family, but I mean, with you, it's almost, I'm like, yeah, but Tara is part of my family. Like, you are part of it. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Totally,
Ernesto. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And can I just say, getting to hear your son, Charlie, play drums at Music Fest last week was so special. I almost got a little choked up. He was so happy and sounded so great. And of course it reminds me of you, like when we first met, because he's almost the same age as when you and I met, which is insane. But yeah, it's like I've never not known you.
Yeah.
And the fact that we get to, we are friends, but that we get to share our profession together and share the stage so often is really special. I don't take it for granted at all. I love you.
I love you too. Well, thank you. Thank you for this. And I'm going to see you very soon because we're going to play with turboprop very soon. No one's going to see this until after this is all done. So it doesn't matter, but I can't wait to play with you tomorrow because it's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Thank you, Tara. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to make music with you for the next, 40 more years.
No, that'd be wonderful. Yeah.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thanks, Ernesto.
Okay, bye.
My pleasure. Thank you. Bye.